Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring Unknown Armies, Book 1, Play. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review, featuring this role-playing game, where the characters fight the status quo while achieving their objectives through occult means, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about combat. It's pretty obvious that combat starts when a character decides to attack another character. However, considering the lethal nature of this role-playing game, how gritty things can become, it's a good idea to keep in mind these 6 ways to stop a fight. The first one is surrender. You swallow your pride and you try to negotiate with the enemy. There is also disarm. You can remove the weapons from your enemies and therefore they can no longer fight against you. There is also rechannel. You can settle the conflict in a smarter way, perhaps through another competition, a non-lethal confrontation, etc. You can pass the buck. You can choose someone who is more powerful than both of you to decide the dispute, the conflict between the two of you. You could also, in some instances, rely on law enforcement to take care of the situation. And you can also run away. But if you decide to fight, combat happens in combat rounds. Each combat round is quite variable when it comes to the seconds that it takes. One combat round could take perhaps between 3 to 6 seconds. Another combat round could take between perhaps 20 or 30 seconds. It all depends on the context. When a character takes an action, that is a combat turn. Now, initiative is settled quite loosely. It depends on the logic of the situation. But you could also decide the initiative order depending on the highest ability or identity score being used for an action. That being said, most combat actions will happen simultaneously. Let's talk about attacking. You roll the appropriate identity or fall back on struggle to punch and kick. Shooting at somebody calls for an identity with provides firearm attacks. If you roll a success, you inflict wounds. If you roll a matched failure on an attack, you've made a tactical error. The Game Master can either penalize you with a minus 10% on your next roll, or give an enemy plus 10% if they immediately take advantage of your misjudgment. If you roll a fumble on an attack, you've done something screwy. If you're firing a gun, it's jammed now, and you're going to have to take an action to clear it. If you're punching or kicking, you got hurt. Maybe you strained your shoulder with a missed punch. Maybe your knuckles hit the wall. The Game Master is going to inflict a number of wounds on your character because of that. If you don't have a weapon ready in your hand, like a blade, a gun, etc., it takes 1 round to get it out. You don't have to roll for this action. You just declare what you are doing and next round your weapon's good to go. The default assumption for a roll to do bodily harm is that things are serious. Those numbers on the character sheet represent your chance to complete that task under life and death circumstances. So when it's already that tough, the Game Master doesn't really need to throw on extra modifiers if the sun's in your eyes, or you have the sniffles, or you're not fighting with the sharpest knife in the drawer. Adding a lot of needless penalties turns combat into a festival of brightly described near misses. That said, when there's something that is unique to one character and which makes things substantially harder on him or her, then a penalty is sensible. So if you are hindered in some way, perhaps tied up or blinded, then you're going to suffer a penalty to your roll. Sometimes, however, things go in your favor. Maybe you are attacking your enemies from an advantageous position, so you're going to get a bonus to your roll. It's also important to note that sometimes you go for broke. You leave it all on the field and decide you are going to double down on death or glory. If you make some kind of balls out attack where you scream incoherently and rip your shirt open, you can improve your odds of hitting with an attack. But there's a price. You also make it that much easier for everyone else to hit you. The technical term for this is a focus shift. You can take a plus 10, plus 20% and so forth, increasing your attacking identity. However, anyone who attacks you that same round gets the same bonus. Focus shifts aren't subtle. Once you announce you're doing one, everyone has an opportunity to readjust their tactics to take advantage. And certainly, in addition to punching and shooting and fire-axing people, you probably want to move around during the fight, if only to get within swinging range of your next target. You can move about 10 feet in a round and still roll for another action. If you want to move more than that, declare that you are running and make a fitness roll. On any success, you can move 30 feet in a straight line or with a couple sharp turns. If you get a simple fail, you move 20 feet. Matched fail, you only get the base 10 feet. On a fumble, you wipe out, moving nowhere. It takes an action to get to your feet after stumbling too. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about damage and how not to get hurt. Combat in this role-playing game is significantly gritty. It's a good idea to avoid it unless it's very important for you to assassinate someone, so to speak. Or maybe it's self-defense. Either way, you want to put every factor to your advantage. You want those modifiers in your favor, while the enemy suffers the disadvantages as well. And because there isn't a strict initiative subsystem, then combats feel very organic, very alive, considering this role-playing game is quite focused on the story. Thank you for watching this part of the review, and thank you for your likes and your comments. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.